Navigating a divorce, especially here in Florida, well, it's tough. And one of the biggest, most stressful parts is figuring out what to do with the family home. So today, we're going to break down a really crucial step: how to pick the right appraiser. Getting this right can make a world of difference for your financial future. So let's dive right in.
When a marriage is ending, that question about the house, it just looms over everything, doesn't it? For most of us, it's the single biggest asset we own. So the real challenge becomes, how do you make sure its value is split fairly? This isn't just about some number on a piece of paper. We're talking about securing your financial footing as you start this completely new chapter in your life.
And let's just be real for a second. This whole process is about so much more than just the money. Dividing a home you've built a life in it's incredibly emotional. You're dealing with this complicated mix of personal history and hard financial facts, and that's exactly why getting objective, professional guidance is absolutely critical.
Okay, so that brings us to the key player in this whole situation, the appraisal. It really helps if you think of them not just as someone who crunches numbers, but as your impartial guide. Their entire job is to bring fairness and accuracy to the table for everyone involved.
So what even is a divorce appraisal? Well, think of it as a formal, legally recognized valuation of your home. It really has two main jobs. First, it gives you, your spouse, and your lawyers a credible, unbiased number to work with in negotiations. And second, if you guys just can't agree, it serves as expert evidence for a judge to use when making a decision.
But here's a big mistake people make: thinking the appraiser's job is just a quick walkthrough and then spitting out a number. No way. A legally sound appraisal is a really comprehensive process because it has to be able to stand up to some serious scrutiny from lawyers and maybe even a judge.
The whole thing is incredibly thorough. I mean, a qualified appraiser kicks things off with a super detailed inspection of the property. Then they'll review all the key documents and dive deep, and I mean deep, into local market data, looking for comparable sales. All of that gets bundled into a formal court-ready report, and this is huge. They have to be ready to get on a stand and defend that report in court as an expert witness if it comes to that.
Okay, so knowing what an appraiser does is one thing, but how in the world do you pick the right one? Let's get really practical here. This is a 5-point checklist of what you absolutely should demand from any appraiser you're thinking about hiring. This is how you protect yourself from a very costly mistake.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's not about finding just any appraiser, it's about finding the right one for a situation as high stakes as a divorce. So let's unpack these 5 non-negotiables.
First off, they have to be state certified and USPAP compliant. That's just the baseline for a report to even be looked at by a court. Second, you need someone who has specific, proven experience with divorce cases. They just get the legal nuances. Third, deep local market knowledge, like knowing Hillsborough County inside and out, is non-negotiable for an accurate value. Fourth, their neutrality has to be absolute, no question. And finally, you need someone who's not just willing, but actually experienced enough to defend their valuation in a courtroom.
And here's why all that is so important. As it says here, courts lean heavily on expert testimony. A credible, well-researched, detailed report from a trusted professional is always going to carry more weight when a judge is deciding how to split up your assets. That checklist we just went through, that's your ticket to finding that trusted professional.
All right, so you know what to look for. Now, let's talk logistics. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. What can you actually expect when it comes to the process, the cost, and a few other key details you're going to need to know?
Let's just get the cost question out of the way. Typically for a divorce, a standard home appraisal is going to run you somewhere in the ballpark of $400 to $800. Now, you and your spouse can each hire your own appraiser, or you could agree to use a single, neutral one. If you can't agree, a judge might just end up appointing one for you.
Now, this next part is super critical. You have to understand the type of appraisal you might need. A current market value appraisal, well, it's pretty straightforward. It tells you what the house is worth right now. But sometimes a court will require what's called a retrospective appraisal. That means finding the value on a specific date in the past, like the day you two separated. They serve very different legal purposes.
And that brings us to what is probably the single most important piece of practical advice I can give you. This is a legal decision. It's not one you should be making on your own. You have to talk to your attorney to confirm exactly which type of appraisal your specific case needs. Seriously, do not skip this step.
So with all of that in mind, I know finding a firm that actually checks all those boxes can feel pretty daunting. So let's look at a specific, credible option for those of you in the Tampa area to give you a clear path forward. For anyone in the Tampa area, one company that really seems to align with everything we've talked about is Eagle Home Appraisal Tampa. You can see their key specializations are right in our wheelhouse: divorce settlements and legal proceedings. That tells you they have deep expertise in exactly these kinds of legally sensitive situations.
They provide certified USPF-compliant reports that are specifically built for attorneys to use. They're also known for quick turnaround times, and they cover the entire Tampa Bay area, including places like Hillsborough County, Brandon, and Riverview. That right there demonstrates that essential local knowledge we were talking about.
You know, when it's all said and done, after all the inspections and the reports and the back-and-forth negotiations, it really all comes down to this one simple question. This is the final test. Is the appraiser you hired ready to defend their work under oath? Because a fair outcome for your future really depends on that answer being a confident, unwavering yes.
So if you're in the Tampa area and you're ready to take that next step, here's the contact information for Eagle Home Appraisals Tampa. Just remember, finding the right professional is such a critical part of protecting your assets, so you can move forward with confidence. Thanks for tuning in.